So I meant to record this video about a month ago, so I kind of forgot what I was going to say. But let's get into this. So I bought a haul. So I bought a bunch of pieces from Ziontryo, which is a store that sells injection molded like knockoff pieces. Really high quality though. Highly would recommend because you can get a gold Kakan for $1.80. Yeah, and it's not bad. Is it a perfect match for gold? Absolutely not. It's kind of fake looking gold, but for $1.80, can you really complain? I mean, it's an $800 mask. If you want it, you need it, throw it in your cart. And they come in crazy colors too, like glow in the darks, trans, neon, orange, and stuff like that. Ben Costley did a really interesting video. I don't know if I can put it in the card on the left or right. If I can, it's there. But highly picking it up. Another thing that you should absolutely throw in your cart are his hands. These hands are really nice. You can. I'm just realizing the photos I took of them are out of focus. Oh. Anyhow, you can get some great posing with them because all 5 fingers pose individually per the 2 digits it has, and they have little ball joints at the thing, or just on the thumb as a ball joint. But that's a lot of articulation for what's not too much bigger than the normal Exoforce style hand. It comes on a sprue if you order the unassembled version. Don't order the pre-assembled. It's twice the money for it's just not worth it. Unless you're buying 30 hands or whatever, and you don't want to assemble 30 hands. Buy the unassembled, do the work yourself. It is a bit tedious, I will say that. It can kind of hurt your fingers if you don't really put the force in the right way. But if you break them, I don't know how you would, but he, at least to me, sent an extra one. So I don't know if it's an extra per every, 3 or 4, like every couple sets you buy. But I bought 2 sets, so 2 sets of 2 hands. You can buy them in singles or doubles. Buy them in doubles if you want a full mock, obviously. I didn't notice any big issues with mine, although I will say a couple of the fingers are a little bit loose, a couple of fingers are a little bit tight. But again, knockoff. You're not paying a ton of money for it, although it would be nice if they were tighter. It's just a thing. The thumbs, it's really mainly the thumbs that are the issue. But it is what it is. Now, I will say there was one cosmetic defect. It's not going to affect the part at all. But as you can see, there was a slight kind of molding issue. He said that shouldn't typically happen, but it is what it is. It's not going to hurt the part at all. It doesn't matter. If you are a lover of teal, then these pieces right here are going to be glorious to you. I don't know what other sizes you can get them in, but these are the size 5s, and they're really good teal match. Again, I don't think it's perfect per se, but doesn't matter. It looks teal to the eye, and it really is nice. It works very well. Here's a blue normal CCBS joint for comparison. There is a slight issue with this mold, and you can see it in this photo right here that compares the two. If you look at the ball socket that's occupied on the blue, it doesn't touch these little squares. I'm trying to zoom in. If you can see it, you can see it. If you can't, you can't. There's these little squares on the bone itself. The armor plate socket doesn't touch them. On the unofficials, it does. So it kind of makes it a little bit hard to put on and take off. And I do worry about stress, especially on this transparent pink one. But hopefully it's fine. Maybe it's not. Who knows? Time will tell. Again, they're super cheap, so if they break, it's not that big a deal. I mean, well, these parts are a little bit more on the expensive side. They're not cheap, dirt cheap like Webricks are, but they're cheap enough to the point where it's like, okay, if they break, I'm not like gonna cry about it. And yes, these trans pink, oh, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Highly recommend getting some trans pink parts. Just a beautiful color. We also can get some G2 masks. I think he added some new ones. I'm not 100% sure. I know he added a metallic gold, which I wish I knew because I would have ordered that one because I was going to spray paint this metallic gold. Oh well. The plan is to put this on Slain, which is a self-mock of a friend of ours, and also going to cut one of the little spike things off. So yeah, as you can see, it connects very well to a uniter head. It's not a uniter head, a G2 head. I don't think I had any issues, especially with knocking it off. Sometimes pieces that are, not official don't fly off. This one came off fairly well. So I got a little yellow eye stock, and I figured I'd show it with this mask as well because it's going to pair nicely. Unfortunately, I didn't, get a photo of it together from the front, but as you can see right here, it comes off easily. That's just pushing it down. Got it to do. Sorry for the rambling. I'm not Ben Cossie. I can't do this style of video with ease. If you're watching, you make great videos. Anyhow, this is how the yellow eye stalks looks on its own. I will say the first one or two times you put an axle through, it's stupidly tight. Like, you're gonna have to push it on a table tight. After that, though, the plastic is like, it's just that initial kind of push. After that, it's pretty good. It's a little bit tight, but not tight enough that you're gonna like have to force it in. It might tighten over time. I don't know, but I think it was just that initial, like, it needed to loosen up a bit. I'm noticing I've been going on for a little bit, so I'm gonna try to speed up. We have a black transparent How. This was an extra free goodie he added on, so I didn't have to pay for this. Super appreciative of it. Thank you, Ziontryo. Ziontryo? I don't know how to pronounce it. Anyways, one slight issue with the How is this little molding notch up on the top. It's not a big issue. It is a consistent thing, though, with all Hows, so it's not a defect on mine. Just a thing to know, if you want a perfect How, it's as close as you're going to get, but there is that little defect. Maybe a sanding file could fix it. I will say, it is a tiny bit sharp, so just be careful rubbing your finger on it or anything. But it's not going to cut you unless you got a sharp one. Mine didn't, at least. And then we have yes, it fits beautifully on a Mata mask. No issues. Now, you can also get different paints on these. And I got a sparse holographic. My goodness, this is a gorgeous mask. The photos don't do it justice. It needs to be in the right light conditions for it to pop. But when it pops, oh my goodness, it pops. And you can see the defects also on this one. When I was designing my Matoran build, or knockoff Matorans, I used the Titan joint. Oh my goodness, those are expensive to get in bulk, and I don't need the friction in them. So buy these knockoff ones instead. They're really good. I tested them several times, popping the socket on and off. I think it was like 10, 15. Held up great. So they're not going to crack if you just use them a couple times. I don't know if it's like, CCBS where they can last 100, 50, 75, but they can definitely be mocked with. I can tell you that right now. I didn't try all of them, but I tried one. I'd assume they're pretty consistent, so don't worry about, I know some places you get sockets from. It's like, I don't want to take it apart once I build it. Feel comfortable taking it on and off. Just don't, go and bop, 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 and you should be completely fine. Now, thing to note about these. Every single one of them had slightly different tolerances on the axle holes. So on the left and on the right, it could be a little bit loose, a little bit tight. I think there was only one that I had to get pliers to get out, but all in all, that's not bad. There was one that was a little too loose for comfort, but they're knockoffs. You're never going to get perfection from a knockoff. Well, I take that back. It's going to be probably a good couple of years before we get perfection. But the fact we can get this instead of the cheap, 4 years ago, you bought a cheap plastic knockoff, like my Lego Smaug, wing snapped 5 minutes after I built it. These are not that quality. Are they amazing? No, but they're so much better than what we used to get for knockoffs. And back to what I was saying with the axles. The top axle was consistently stupidly tight. So be super careful when using this top joint. If you are just messing around, don't push it all the way in because you're going to have a really, really hard time pulling it out. That's a big thing to note. Now, on to some little shots of what I was going to do for the hands. We have Orion. Still waiting on some photos to complete Orion. And then we have Tetrol, who is apparently inaccurate because C4 decided to be a masochist and use a 3-finger design and not a 4-finger. And you would understand why I said she's a masochist if you knew how hard it is to put the 3 fingers on. So much blood. Oh, so much blood. But if you enjoyed this video, why don't you watch my haul where I actually unbox these parts? Oh, wow. That's a YouTuber voice. What have I become?